Are you hoping to grow your private practice, yet you struggle with social anxiety? Does the idea of attending large networking events and sharing what you do in front of a large group of people bring tears to your eyes and make you feel nauseous? Here's a secret: you're not alone. I struggled with social anxiety since high school and to this day have a huge fear of public speaking, where I avoid giving speeches to an audience at all costs. Yet I have a successful private practice. I've even been an adjunct professor for a university, and I have a podcast. How is this possible? By the grace of God, yes, but it didn't happen overnight. I started with very basic strategies that I'm going to share today. You can build connections and attract your ideal client without doing things that make you want to cry or vomit. There are tons of ways to get your name out there that don't involve going to large networking events and speaking in front of dozens of people. So listen up. Let's make you an overcomer and help you grow your private practice in spite of your fears. Hey, Christian therapist, are you craving a counseling career that aligns with your faith and actually supports your well being? Welcome to the Prosperous Christian Therapist Podcast. I'm Kimberly Van Hooser, Christian therapist, private practice owner, and business coach for mental health professionals like you. In this podcast, you'll get practical strategies and faith led guidance to help you build a thriving private practice, one that serves your clients well and makes an impact for the kingdom of God. So, what are you waiting for? Grab your notebook and join me for today's episode. Welcome to the Prosperous Christian Therapist Podcast. I'm your host, Kimberly Van Hooser. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you haven't already done so, make sure that you head on over to Facebook and join my free Facebook community, Start and Grow Your Private Practice as a Christian Therapist. In that group, you'll be with other like-minded Christian clinicians, and I'll be sharing tips and strategies. There will be support and encouragement, as well as opportunities for some free coaching. If you ask questions in the group, I'd love to have you be a part. I also offer one-to-one coaching calls. So if you need a little bit of help or guidance in starting your private practice and ways to grow it, and even wondering, should you market as a Christian therapist or not, and all the things private practice, I'd love to be able to chat with you about that. You can go ahead and send me an email at kimberly@claritychristian.com. I will be sure to put the Facebook group link as well as my email address in the description below. Today's episode is all about networking for introverts with social anxiety, or if you have a fear of public speaking. This is something that I personally can relate to. I have struggled with social anxiety and a huge fear of public speaking since high school. While my social anxiety has gotten a lot better, I still sometimes will struggle with it when I'm engaging with people that I don't really know well or attending an event where I don't know people well. I can fake it pretty good. Most people don't know that I'm super nervous and they have a pretty easy conversation with me, but it is something where I'll step away and recognize that I'm feeling definitely some heightened anxiety. And then to this very day, I will avoid any sort of public speaking at all costs, even if I'm attending some sort of small group and they ask you to get up and share just a little bit about who you are, why you're there. I get very, very nervous for that. So I just want you guys to know that you're not alone. It is definitely still possible to have a sustainable private practice, a thriving private practice, even if you struggle with social anxiety or if you're a public speaking. I'll be sharing with you today some of the methods that I was able to use in order to grow my practice that were much more comfortable for me and didn't involve doing a ton of public speaking or having to go to really large events with people that I didn't know. The most important piece about networking is connection and letting yourself really be known. So honestly, the more comfortable that you are with the type of networking that you do, the greater chance people have of seeing who you actually are. So instead of going to those gigantic networking events where there's like 50 therapists there and you have to get up and share who you are, that's good practice, but it's actually just as effective, if not more so, to start engaging with people one on one. So that's the first networking strategy I would recommend if you are an introvert or if you struggle with social anxiety, is to do one-to-one meetups with other professionals. If you're a therapist, hopefully you are at least somewhat open to the idea of meeting with people one on one, because I'm guessing you most likely will do some individual therapy. And for most of us, I know we're a lot more comfortable with meeting on with just one person rather than a huge group of people. So for me, even if I felt a little bit nervous about going out and meeting someone that I hadn't really met before, it was a lot more comfortable than going to a large group where you have to kind of pick someone in the room to start chatting with. I much prefer those one-to-one conversations. And the nice thing is, when you're meeting with other mental health professionals, you usually have some common ground and things to chat about. So you don't have to really struggle with what is it that I say exactly. Remember, you can use your skills as a therapist. I like to say that I can chat with literally anyone for 50 minutes. because that's how long my sessions are. I have learned how to have that rhythm where I know how to carry along a conversation for that amount of time. So I would really encourage you to set a goal for yourself to meet with at least two professionals every single month on a one to one basis. And if you can, bump it up to one a week because the more frequently that you do this, the much more comfortable you'll get. And I am a testimony, a living testimony to the fact that someone with social anxiety, someone who does not like public speaking, can get comfortable with doing these one to one meetings. I actually really enjoy them now. And sometimes I might feel a little bit of nerves or that awkwardness, more awkwardness now than nerves the first time that you walk into that coffee shop and you're trying to figure out who the person is that you're meeting with. And then you sit down and you're trying to kind of pick up on, well, how are they feeling? What do I say? But you can do things awkward. You can do things afraid. And I like to just embrace the awkward. So if you feel awkward in these meetups, just recognize it and keep going forward. And I have made some really, really good friends, not only professional connections and colleagues, but people that are very dear friends to me because I have reached out for networking. If you're just getting started, reach out to people that you feel like, hey, like they don't look too scary. I could meet with them. I have some common ground with them, and start to build and increase your tolerance for doing those one to one meetings. Another strategy that I think is often overlooked that is very important if you are an introvert or if you struggle with social anxiety is to utilize the connections that you already have. So think about your friends, your family, if you have a church that you're attending, and really draw on those places where you might already feel comfortable and just let those people know what you do. Now, I know that we can't be therapists for our friends or our acquaintances. We need to have some degrees of separation, but they might know people that they can send to you. So I know I mentioned that I'm an introvert and I have social anxiety, but I actually have come to grow my community. So it's pretty expansive, especially since I've lived in so many states. I have connections all over the globe. And that has come in a way that's been very natural for me. So think about for you, what are your interests? What are your hobbies? How can you get connected in a way that doesn't feel so scary? And if it's joining a small group or going to a book club, it's okay to bring a friend with you if that's going to encourage you more. Let your workout studio people know what you do if you're in a fitness class or something like that. And just really start to build on the opportunities that are right around you already. Okay, the last strategy for introverts or the socially anxious that I'm going to touch on today is just to make sure you're doing quality work with every person who comes through your door and every person that even just reaches out to you, even if they don't end up becoming a client, because that's going to lead to word of mouth referrals. As you continue to do therapy, the amount of clients that you have worked with is obviously going to grow, and they know people who will need therapy. And some people are kind of selfish with their therapists. They're like, hey, like they're my therapist. I don't want my friend going to see her. And that is totally fine. But there are a lot of people out there who are like, wow, my therapist is amazing. She helped me so much, and you need to go see her. So that is encouraging to think about each client that comes to see you is actually a way for you to be increasing your referral network. And that obviously is not our sole reason for seeing and helping a client, but just knowing, hey, I don't have to be going to all these events all the time or having posts on social media every single day. The quality of work that I do with each individual that interacts with me is going to help spread my reputation and bring more people in through my door. So let me go ahead and give a quick recap of the three different strategies we talked about that you can utilize if you're an introvert, if you have social anxiety, just to expand your network and your connections in order to increase referrals. So the first one was to really focus on setting up one-to-one meetings with mental health professionals. It feels a lot safer just to meet with someone one on one versus going to large networking events, and it will really help you stand out in that person's mind. The second one we talked about is to really draw upon the people that you already have in your life. So look to family, look to friends, let them know what you're up to, let it be known that you're a therapist, who you like to work with, and then just look for natural ways where you can be growing in relationship and building your community of people through your own interests and hobbies. I've been a part of Bible studies, I've been a part of book clubs, I have been a part of workout classes, and that's never for the sole purpose of networking for business. It's for my own enjoyment. But just by very nature of people getting to know me, then they know what I do and they are more likely to send people that are in need of a therapist to me. And then the third one we talked about was just making sure that you do quality work with each client that you see. And that's going to build your word of mouth referrals over time. None of these are solutions for overnight referrals, most likely. So you really do need to have the long term end goal in mind when you are starting a private practice and when you are starting networking. So even though it does take time and it can feel really painful when you're in that slow growth and you're just anxious and excited to get going, but just trust that God, if He has put private practice on your heart, that He has a means to fulfill that as well. If you are someone who really struggles with social anxiety, I do want to encourage you and let you know that there is hope for you, that you can get better at social interactions. The more that you put yourself out there and practice, the more comfortable you'll become in interacting with other people. You'll become a lot more confident in knowing how to express yourself and communicate what it is you do, and it will end up becoming just a lot easier. So there is hope for improvement in that area. And it's okay if you struggle in it. And your struggle with social anxiety or public speaking is not going to prevent you from being able to build and grow your own practice. So just take encouragement from knowing that. I also believe that Satan always attacks us in our area where we're supposed to carry our greatest influence. So for myself, I know that God has given me things to share and to say. And I believe that's why I struggle so much with public speaking, because I have good things to say that are important. That's part of my God given path. And Satan doesn't want me to walk down that. At the same time, he hasn't been able to stop me. Even though I don't like giving speeches, I've still been able to share my wisdom and knowledge through other means. This podcast is an example of that. Take that into account and think about the areas where you struggle most, where you have the most fear, and see that as encouragement in a way that Satan doesn't want you to carry that influence. And also know that God's power is made perfect in our weakness. So let your areas of weakness be a testimony and a vessel for God to work through. If you struggle with social anxiety, I'm really hoping that this podcast was encouraging for you and gives you some hope that there's still ways to market your practice. I know for a lot of us, we might just hope that making a website or being part of a Psychology Today directory is going to be able to bring in all of our clients. And those are great ways and great tools to bring in clients. We do need to have an online presence, but I think if you want a full private practice and long term referral sources, then there is really that piece of needing to get ourselves out there in the community and connecting with others. But there are ways to do that that don't require a ton of social interaction or uncomfortable situations that we're dreading. So, thank you so much for listening today. Once more, if you haven't already done so, head on over to Facebook and join my Facebook group, Start and Grow Your Private Practice as a Christian Therapist. You don't have to be marketing yourself as a Christian therapist to work with me or to benefit from this group. So, keep that in mind. But for those of us who are Christians, I believe that we feel called to our therapy practices, and how can we show up in our Christian faith, even if that means we're working with secular clients or in a secular environment. How do we run our business in a way that is partnering with God and stays in alignment with our values and what He is asking us and calling us into? If you would like to do a private coaching session with me, go ahead and email me at kimberly@claritychristian.com. I'll be sure to leave the Facebook group information as well as my email address in the description below. Thank you so much, and I look forward to having you with me next time. If you found value in today's episode, would you leave a written review on Apple Podcasts? It helps other faith-led clinicians like you find the show. And don't forget to join my free Facebook community, Start and Grow Your Private Practice as a Christian Therapist, where you'll join other clinicians for encouragement, accountability, and free tips and support. See you there.